Are we really ever ready, Joel?
No,
Really? No.
never.
Hey, fan of the Monday Movie Club.
Two.
Is there
Next,
one?
next week, you're just going to go with Fa.
Fa. This week we're back to 1998 as we celebrate movies celebrating their 25th anniversary. And we watched There's Something About Mary, which was the third highest grossing movie of 1998 in the US. Emphasis on gross. So number one was Saving Private Ryan. Number two, we'll be watching later this year. I know you're all going to love it. Armageddon.
Oh.
Joel's favorite movie.
Yes, it's on the Criterion Collection.
It is.
I'm Frank Gaffney. With me, as always, is Joel. Remember, Joel, at the beginning of this, you would bring out your DVD or something and put it up and show us you had something.
The toys.
I'll go. You know, there have been many times where I've been like, oh, damn, I forgot to bring this upstairs. So.
Thanks, Joel.
Anyway, hang on 1 second.
So you see where the enthusiasm of the entire crowd has gone.
Joel's gonna go get some hair gel.
You happy?
Oh, thank you. Avy Goldman and Cringer. Is this Cringer's favorite day, time of the week?
Absolutely.
Movie review?
He's our fan.
Annie Cringer now is a retired woman and can go to all the baseball games she wants without anybody knowing. And Mark Wotsitz Gartner, who has a picture up. All right, here we go. So this film beautifully capped an era of genre of gross out comedies. And sibling directors Bobby and Peter Farrelly managed to convince us.
Farrelly?
Isn't it Farrelly?
It's Farrelly.
Farrelly, not Farrelly?
No.
Farrelly.
Farrelly. All right. They tried to convince us at least that there was humor to be found in Ted getting his Franks and beans caught in his zipper, or in Mary mistaking his spermatozoa for hair gel. That's achievement enough right there. But what still amazes is how these lowbrow laughs are elevated. I can't even read. To almost graceful perfection. Here's the plot. Ben Stiller's character is stuck with the memory of a disastrous prom date with Mary, played by Cameron Diaz. And that moment casts a shadow over his love life for years. And he decides to track down the one that got away, only to find he has to compete with much more devious wannabe suitors. It's so funny.
Stalkers.
The Farrelly brothers' first two films were Dumb and Dumber and Kingpin, and they too were outrageous, uncouth, bawdy, and unapologetically lowbrow. And this is their third film, but this one gets one thing right that the others really didn't. It's very funny.
Yes.
I don't remember laughing at Dumb and Dumber at all, or Kingpin, and the comedy in those films missed the mark for me a lot, but not so here. But I do remember when I saw this in the movie laughing more than I did this time.
Oh, yeah.
It's not enough for the movie to employ that gross out humor. It has to do it successfully. And here, the timing, the reaction shots, almost always on target. And that's one crucial difference between, I can't keep saying Farrelly. Is that it?
Farrelly.
Farrelly. What was the other word I could never get right?
Other word?
Oh, the Tesseract.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference between their first two films and this one, is that they here, even here, some of the gags don't work, but you have to admire their audacity at even trying them. I mean, some of them are so out there. But the most surprising thing I think about this movie is that while it does still have that crude humor, it really ends up being a sweet, albeit offbeat, romantic comedy. And the main reason it succeeds really is that the actors are all just perfect. Ben Stiller, who really understands this kind of comedy, makes us like and sympathize with Ted while we're laughing at him at the same time. And Matt Dillon he's having way too much fun playing against type. I mean, he's usually the brooding hero guy, so he's the straight man. Cameron Diaz, and she's perfection in this movie. And she even won the New York Film Critics Award for Best Actress for this performance. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
To be fair, the Blank brothers, not every joke centers on genitals or breasts or bodily fluids or their assortment of other tasteless subjects. And one of the cleaner bits that I really appreciated was those two traveling minstrels that follow Ted around and, you know, kind of Greek chorus.
Well, that's them, isn't it? That's the Farrelly brothers.
No.
It's not? Oh, I
No.
thought that was them. Okay.
And the even funnier thing to me is that when you watch them, they are not even caring about how they're playing those instruments. It's like,
Well, the drummer never actually drums. Yeah, he's
like whatever.
doing the air. Yeah.
And it's one of those, that's the kind of thing I find funny. It's just, you know, they're like, man, who cares? We don't have to play it right. Okay, so I'm granted, it's not subtle or intellectual humor. I don't think those two words apply to any of their movies. But I think it's less lowbrow than the other two for sure. So I 3 stars for me. The movie's completely fearless in its pursuit of laughs. No subject is taboo for them. And you know Mary and Ted will end up together. But the Farrellys?
Call them the Fratelli brothers. It'll be funnier.
Arthur Fonzarelli.
The Fonzarellis make sure that the finale isn't arrived at easily or predictably. And most importantly, it's a lot of fun getting there. And I'm going to say 3.25. I just convinced myself.
Yeah.
That it was 3.2. All right. So let's go to Annie. Annie, had you seen this before?
Never. So this was my first time.
Oh,
Was it
Yeah.
fun?
It was fun. It was okay. I kind of feel a little bit like Ben Stiller just plays the same character a lot. And there was some good funny parts and stuff, but the ending really annoyed me a lot. So I would have been fine if that whole ending was there and he just walked away instead of that stupid cry. It was like just
The crying is one of my least. It's like the worst part of the whole movie. But are you talking about the whole part with all the guys in her apartment too? That whole part, or
no, that was fine. It's when he walked away, you know, when like after he brought Brett in and everything.
Yeah.
And he walks away, and it would have been great for me if he just walked away and, you know, and I know she's going to come chasing after him, sure. But that whole ugly cry thing was just ridiculous. I thought it was just so terrible. It was
and obviously dubbed. You can see it was
oh
horrible.
my God, yes, yeah.
But and it's funny, I'm trying to figure out, you know, like when I watch movies like this, the gross humor and the, you know, stupid jokes and stuff, why I like some and not others as much,
Same, yeah.
you know, because I don't know if I would have loved it more and laughed more if I was in the theaters when it came out.
I think for sure. Because I remember seeing American Pie in the theater and everybody was so laughing. We were crying. It was so funny. Watching it on TV, I was like,
People's laughter make you laugh.
yeah. So it was much funnier in a theater experience.
Yes, I guess I have to get out to the theater more often.
Well, now that you don't have a job.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and sign up for AMC's, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
past, yeah.
days, yeah. so,
Go every week to a movie.
yes, so that's why. So for me, you know, parts of it were really funny. I did not love the hair gel part. I never knew where that came from on the
Yeah,
cover.
I also want to know how did he get it on his ear? He wasn't aiming anywhere near it.
Yeah,
Just saying.
so it's 3 stars. It was fun. I'm glad I finally got to watch it. It wasn't great for me though.
It was very cute though, when he was looking for it. He's like, where the hell did it go?
Yeah,
Yeah. But
With a mirror right in
ended
front
up-
of him, by the way,
Yeah,
a mirror
right.
right in front of him.
Yeah.
No way.
And he
But-
didn't
but-
feel it? He didn't feel it?
If you, I watched for that scene specifically, and they really did a good job with the camera angles where he's moving his head around, but you never see that left ear
Yeah.
Okay, good
until
point.
they open the door. That I appreciated that part, but yeah, it was ridiculous.
Was anything else ridiculous, Mark?
The dog on the top of the car.
And being
Oh,
attacked by
poor dog.
Benji, yeah. But that whole dog scene too, that to me was hilarious. But both scenes, both when he with Matt
That's in my
Dillon,
notes.
and then also when he's all hopped up on speed, that was hilarious. What?
That
Poor
poor
dog. Yeah, no, it's funny. I actually saw this in the theaters in '98. My friends who wanted to go see it, I had never seen the trailer. I had no idea what I was in for, and I laughed hysterically throughout, especially the part with the hair gel. I mean, I was 23. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen at the time.
Yeah, it was pretty outrageous. of
Oh,
course.
and I mean, the whole theater went crazy when that part happened. Because even if you had seen, the promo with the hair, you still didn't know like Annie said, where the hell did that come from? You don't know.
Right.
So this
The
one
other thing that's really funny, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Is when a moment like that, and then they cut the film together and they show it to the audience, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to put a longer reaction shot because they're
Yeah.
never gonna hear the next line." That's all I
Yeah.
could think. She's standing there because she's like, "We know you're laughing right now."
Love that.
part, yeah, it's a good part. Yeah. I own the DVD and have seen it maybe 10, 12 times. Although I hadn't seen it in a number of years, so it was fun to watch again. And yeah, I mean, Frank, to be honest, your review you said more eloquently what my dumbass is about to say throughout my whole review. It was, some of the stuff hasn't aged well, especially Matt Dillon working with, although exceptional my ass, that's still that line. I mean, it's wrong, but it was funny. It was still funny. And like, I think Annie, you said like other movies that haven't aged well, I'm like, oh, that's just kind of painful to watch now. This one, the offensive humor didn't bother me for whatever reason. I still found myself laughing out loud sometimes at several of the lines.
Are there any that you still use? Any lines that you still use? Exceptional my ass sounds like a good line.
I don't know. I got to think. No, I guess I don't use anything regularly, but watching it again, I still appreciated his off-screen yell when they unzip his pants. That still gets me. It was hilarious. Anyway, what else? It's not a perfect movie, and again, like you guys already said, I mean, there was just several dumb parts. The crying at the end is my least favorite part of the whole movie. It's just dumb. But more good than bad. And as you said, Frank, even with the grossness, whatever, it was still funny. They got the humor right. I actually own Kingpin. I don't know why. It's I'm never really going to watch it again. I've seen it maybe 2-3 times. I used to think it was funny back when I first saw it, but I watched it recently and just does not hold a candle to this. But even back in 1988, I knew that Brett Favre cannot act. Holy crap.
Oh my God.
I would do better than that.
Yeah.
They wanted somebody else originally. And then they
Yeah.
went.
Oh, I forgot.
Go ahead, Amy.
I just wanted to say that Danny actually found it playing on whatever channel. So I did watch it with commercials and it might have been edited. So I'm not sure. Like I could tell the parts where they dubbed in, but I'm not sure if I missed anything huge.
Go ahead.
There is a
Then you
great,
make that shot of his actual scrotum.
Yeah.
there's a great, it's, I know it's silly, maybe no one else cares, but it's a great reaction shot when, what's his name? The British guy is telling Mary about how bad Pat Healy is. And he's listening to them outside on the garage. They probably edited it out, but he turns around and just goes, fuck.
I have that in my notes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Is he
So,
really British, that guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee Evans, yeah.
oh, is he? So he
Yeah.
faked being a goofy American? Okay,
Yes.
that's good.
And I think I read somewhere that he would get comments that he had a terrible English accent. He was like,
Yeah. Well, it was because he was overdoing it. Just like if I was in a movie and I started talking like this,
Yeah, I totally get that.
I'm
Amy.
ridiculous.
no, that is how you talk, Amy Goldman.
I don't talk like this.
You do.
Well, but I do agree though. That guy did sound. I thought he was American because it sounded like he was putting on too much of an accent. So yes, I could see why people say that to him. But and I think Frank, you already said all the principal actors were great, but Matt Dillon for me was just perfect because, as you said, it goes against type, and it was just fun. And a big thank you to
And
Cameron.
that little mustache thing. Oh my God.
But it's perfect. He's playing such a slime ball, but not, usually he plays a tough guy slime ball, and here he's just a goofy slime ball.
I read that he said that it was his first comedy because comedy's so much harder.
Sure, especially to someone who like him, who's not a comedian, you know. But big thank you to Cameron for not knowing what a bra is for the entire movie. Holy crap. And I love the end sequence. I'm a big fan of Build Me Up Buttercup. So I enjoyed
Also in my notes.
fun, silly.
Why did they do that?
I have no idea, but maybe Joel knows the trivia. I don't have the trivia, but I enjoyed the song, and it was just fun to see that they went back to all random sequences throughout the whole movie. And
Like every single day they were like, okay, let's do Build Me Up
let's
Buttercup.
rap with like a quick dance off. Yeah.
But it's been a while since I've seen any of their other movies as well. I think that's something they've done in a few of them. Not to Build Me Up Buttercup, obviously.
Right, other songs.
It was just the best closing credits ever.
Yes.
Loved it.
I was going back and forth between 3 1/4, 3 1/3 and 3 1/2. But since Frank went up, I'll go up to 3.5 stars. Not a go-to movie for me, but if it's on and someone wants to watch it, I'll watch this again.
It's a remote dropper.
Not quite.
You just said if it's on.
No, if it's on and someone wants to watch it, I would watch it with them again.
Right.
I'm not gonna go throw this in again next week like I do for other movies.
So basically what he's saying is if he's sitting at home flipping around on the TV and Luna says, hey, yeah.
Exactly.
Aim, not a remote dropper for you, I would assume.
No. I do remember.
You had seen it before, right? You saw it in 1998.
Yes, of course I saw it. I was working at 20th Century Fox at the time, so of course I saw it. And I remember it was a huge event, this movie. Huge. And I didn't remember because I don't think I had seen it since 1998, so I didn't remember any of it. So it was like brand new, which I loved. I wrote the bathroom scene, the very first bathroom scene where he got his twig and berries. Annie, you got to see the twig and berries. And I did record it because I did see it. It was on demand, but it said 2.5 hours. And I said, okay, this commercial. And as I'm watching it, I could see one of his friends, back in high school, the one with the long hair. He said like something, and you could see it was dubbed in, and I just hit stop right there. And I went,
you all know who that is, right?
who is that?
It's Willie Garson. He played Stanford Blatch.
Oh no, my God, I did not know that.
Wait, on what show?
The late
Sex in the City.
The late Willie Garson.
Oh my God. Wow, yeah.
And he was terrific. And Andy, he had a lot of great curses, so it's much better unedited. So I wrote the bathroom scene, which could have gone on way too long with the stupid jokes, was really funny. Every time they brought someone in, it didn't get stupid and immature. It just put the humor the writing was terrific.
Amy, and in the background, the constant Franks and beans. I mean, it's ridiculous. It makes you laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, that and the twig and berries, and the dad when he first opened the door, he's like, she already left with Gookie, whatever his name was. That was great. And I wrote Frank, and then I read that it actually was true in the trivia. Were rest areas the bathhouses of the 90s?
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
Absolutely.
And all the gay men at that rest area were the crew. That was fun.
Yeah, that's funny.
He and
But the whole crew is gay. Wow.
Yeah, right. The Farrelly brothers apparently love to throw people into their movies. That like Cameron Diaz's dad was in it. Jail guys. I said some of the scenes were torturously long, like the one with the hitchhiker when he was talking about the 8-minute abs. I was like, oh my God. And now, of course, he's going to say 7-minute abs. Bad joke. It was terrible.
Yeah. And I think also the actor, I don't know who he is.
Harlan something.
Harlan Williams.
But he must have been, good at, ad-libbing stuff, and they probably just let him go on and on.
Yeah. Boring. The whole when it became the cops live at the at the rest area, just the way that just happened, he tripped and everything just blew up, was written so well. And then when the cops were questioning him, and I hate that whole double entendre thing where I think I know what you're saying, but it's completely the wrong.
My cousin Vinny. It's my cousin Vinny.
Yes,
you admit to it? Yeah, of course I did it.
Yeah, and it's done in so many movies, but in this movie, it wasn't as obvious. I think they did a really good job, except they did write who the hell has picked up 25 to 50 hitchhikers in about the 12 to 15 years they've had a driver's license? And I've never picked up one. So,
Well, you're a woman. Come on.
okay, well, that's true. How many of you picked up? How many of you guys picked up?
None.
12.
25 to 50. I hate the fact that,
Maybe it was more prevalent back then. Certainly wouldn't pick up anybody today.
I was driving back then, and anyway, it was
Wait,
very
wait, also, where are we? Are we in California?
Rhode
the movie?
Island. Oh, it was Rhode Island then Miami.
In
Yeah.
Florida, yeah.
It's all East Coast stuff. So
Yeah, so there's a lot more hitchhikers there.
Okay, sure. It really felt so gross and creepy that her every movement was bugged. I was like, oh my God, she can't say anything without, it grossed me out. But when Tucker was outing him to her, in her ridiculous office, and Martell looked at the camera and yelled, fuck, that was terrific. That's what you were referring to, Mark. That was just so good.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell Martell is. It must have been a bad text writing. After the whole scripted phone call between Ted and the Jeffrey Tambor character, when they next showed a scene with Mary playing volleyball, using the song, Is She Really Going Out With Him, was brilliant.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. I wrote both major scenes with the dogs were terrifically edited. That poor fucking dog was just thrown everywhere. And they said, I read they used 6 different puppets. And then I wrote, sorry, Frank, I thought the musicians were not funny and boring. But when we saw them for the very last time and we heard real drum sounds and all he was doing was tapping the sticks, I cracked up. That was great. So that was on my notes. I'm now wavering between 3 and 3 1/4, but I think I'll stick with 3. I really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't, 3 is enough.
Honestly, I thought everyone was going to hate the musicians. So I was surprised at Frank that you actually enjoyed
no.
it. They
I
are kind
thought
of annoying.
I thought it was adorable.
That's cute.
I thought 8 was enough, not 3. Oh, okay.
Well,
Joel, you
yeah.
certainly have seen this movie more than once.
What?
You certainly have seen this movie more than once.
Yes, I have seen this movie more than once in my collection, obviously, since it's right here.
So it being in your collection is
Yeah, I know
not-
that means absolutely nothing. So,
Being in my collection, on the other hand,
it's a fun film. I mean, I can't deny that. It's been a while since I had seen it. I remember laughing more previous times I've seen it. Maybe I just wasn't laughing as much because I was watching it by myself. Even Natasha was like, I don't need to see it again, which is fine. Some oddities that I noticed this time that really annoyed the crap out of me. The beginning of the movie, Mary arrives at school on a bike. And then after the scene where Ted tries to intervene and save Warren, they are walking home. And I'm like, where the fuck is her bike? They're not walking the bike home. The bike is still at school. That just little stupid things like that.
It was the next day.
Yeah, sure. Had they made it look like the next day or felt like the next day, I believe it was the next day, but it's not the next day.
Sure.
Anyway, it bothered me. I don't know why. It just did. It's a stupid thing, but
so she couldn't decide to walk home today and then walk to work tomorrow and then take the bike. Why?
sure, she could be locked up.
sure, lazy writing. Anyway, it's I think everybody else hit on the best parts of the film, the fun parts of the film. It's an enjoyable movie. I don't know what else to say about that. It's not my I'm trying to think of the other Farrelly Brothers movies, and I'm like, I don't know that I have a favorite one per se. They're all kind of on the same plane until you get to like.
Are you looking them up?
No, I was just putting the black screen on because I was too bright.
Could you look them up?
Well,
I
there are
can
the
tell you what
movies.
they are.
Oh, you do. I'm sorry. I thought you were
There's
like,
no need to. It's there's Dumb and Dumber, Dumb and Dumber 2 or Dumb,
Right.
however it's spelled, the sequel that they made that's not the direct-to-video movie, Kingpin, Shallow Hal, Stuck
Myself
on
and
You,
Irene, which we
Me,
like.
Myself, and Irene,
That one I like.
The
Yeah.
Three Stooges with Will Sasso and
What's the one with Matt Damon and
Stuck on You,
Stuck on You? I never saw that one.
and then Green Book. You know,
Isn't Cher in that?
Green Book.
Wait,
Well, they didn't both make Green Book, did
no,
they?
they've split in the last few years, and I forget which one made Green Book, and then he made something else, and then
wow.
the other one did the greatest beer, the recent beer run movie whose name I can't remember.
Oh, with Zac Efron?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've obviously branched away from each other into, more dramatic films.
Just
but-
one little thing I wanted to say earlier, that when Frank said this was their third movie and it was so good, and I read this in the trivia. I'm sorry, I always read the trivia, and I don't know how true this is, but they just went balls to the wall, as they would say in this movie, with this one, because Kingpin was so bad. They're like, this is going to be our last movie.
Ah,
And needless to
That's
say,
some big names.
it's well acted, it's well made, it's a funny film. It's not I find it, having watched it this time, I find it more of a nice romantic comedy than a hysterically funny comedy.
Yeah.
That part of it's kind of lost its edge a bit for me. The gross out humor is not so gross out anymore. It's not so shocking as it may have been back in the 90s. And some of the stuff is a bit dated and potentially offensive, but I also think, especially when we're talking about things with Warren and the rest of the folks that have issues in the film, that I think the Farrelly brothers do get a bit of a pass on that, since they're strong advocates for getting for helping people like that. So
Well, and Joel, I want to say, I thought that the guy who played Warren did it like the way when he would touch her face a little bit. It was very realistic. It wasn't making fun of him. It was
no, and that's one of the
Nice.
one of the things I find interesting about all their films is that we do have characters like that they don't treat them as the joke.
Like the joke, right? Exactly.
They treat them respectfully and as humans. They are part of the humor of the film, but they are not being punched down at, which I think is important to note.
And I loved when at the end when Ted went like this to his ear,
Yes.
Yes.
and he didn't react. I was like, oh, he loves him.
And the fact that Mary notices that, I think, is what causes her to go running after him and staying instead of staying with Brett
Favre, yeah. And was that a surprise? Like, Annie, was that a surprise for you that the good old wholesome white boy Brett was actually Brett Favre? Did you see that coming at all?
No,
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't imagine you could.
No, that was a big surprise for me too.
Yeah.
when I saw it,
Nor
yeah.
that Chris Elliott's character, who I miss Chris Elliott. I've always liked him, that he was Dookie.
yeah.
Woogie.
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 Dookie.
Woogie.
Woogie.
Woogie. Yeah.
Woogie.
Don Woganowski.
Yeah, you've seen Schitt's Creek, right?
No.
Amy.
Only season 1.
Well,
He's
he's a
still
big
in
part-
season 1.
Oh yeah. True, you're right.
Hi, Joel. You didn't say your star.
3 stars.
Okay, 3 stars. All right, so it was a fun one for sure. And anybody have any additional comments?
Yeah, one thing for any fans of Kindergarten Cop, if you recognize Richard Tyson, who was Crisp, the bad guy, the villain with the ponytail in the movie, he was the cop that was beating the crap out of Ben Stiller in jail. If anybody cares, if not, all right, don't worry.
I don't remember.
You'll be watching it next year anyway. Don't worry.
I like that movie.
Two quick things, just because they were things that came to mind, and I wanted to quickly mention them. Since everybody brought up the singing troubadours and stuff that go in and out of the movie, I actually like them. I wanted more of them. It's one of those, sometimes you have something like that in the film, and there's too little of it, or there's too much of it. For me, I wanted to see a little bit more of them. I don't know why.
It really was funny to me, Joel, because it was like the movie starts with them. I'm like, what the hell is going on here now?
Exactly. Especially if you're starting with them, you need to filter them in a little more often. to make it work properly for me. The other thing, and it's just a silly thing, the fireman that comes into the bathroom to help with Ted at the beginning of the movie is a comedian by the name of Lenny Clark, and I only mention him
sure.
because I've been rewatching reruns of the John Larroquette show where he's a regular on the show, and it's just funny. I think it was the biggest laugh when he came on because I completely forgot he was in the film, and he has a very distinctive way of talking.
Yes.
So it's like, oh wait, it's Hampton,
He was also in Rescue Me. for
I was
a
just
while.
gonna say that he was like my favorite part of Rescue Me. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Anyway.
And another thing, again, what I said at the beginning, that the brothers definitely know about editing and hitting that joke perfectly, is that very moment where she takes the hair gel, she holds it in her hand, and then we don't see it again until they're at the restaurant and her hair is up.
And
I'm
it's
like,
focused on I was gonna say that it's focused on Ben Stiller, so you don't get the
Yeah.
joke until
And you could totally see his eyes keep looking up at it.
Uh-huh.
yeah. And then you see it. I mean, that is so brilliantly done. It really is. That's
Yeah.
the perfect timing for that joke.
Yeah, to me, the timing of fuck was the best.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I wasn't alone. Thank you, Amy.
Oh my God.
All right, so Something About Mary is not available on the usual subscription services, and we don't recommend watching it when it airs with editing in it.
We can thank Disney for that.
Next week is Joel is up with one of his top 10 most favorite movies of all time. He just said this.
Well, that was on
1970
Tuesday. If you asked me again today, it wouldn't necessarily be there.
It's 1978's Gore Fest called Martin, directed by George Romero. You don't think it's a Gore Fest?
I would not call it a gore fest.
I didn't make that up. I got that from the interwebs.
Okay, I still wouldn't call it a gore fest.
Maybe in 1978 it was, but
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
there's, don't get me wrong, there are some very bloody scenes, but I wouldn't call it a gore fest.
We shall find out next week.
Yes.
I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
So with you.